Welcome to the Manchester's Blue Show, everybody. We've got the sound sorted. I hope everyone's well. Myself and Dan this evening, and we're going to have potentially Dave and potentially Tom Young coming on to join us later when they finish work. I hope everyone's well and having a fantastic Friday. I had a good week so far. I know there'll be a lot of people working this weekend as well, so good luck to you and hope it goes as well as possible. Come on, we salute you guys. So, this is the Manchester's Blue Show for a Friday. It's very rare I come on a Friday, Dan. You know this better than I do, but I had a bit too much to drink last night, so I had to take that one for the team and say, right, okay, I need to do this on the Friday instead, lads. I don't think you would have got much sense out of me at the best of times. I had planned to go away this week, so I still had to take it off work. So I'm technically still in holiday mode. So I'm still in Scarborough at the minute, mentally, but I'm based from home, obviously. Loads to talk about from following the international breaks. Everything just seems to have. If it's not injuries, it's COVID. Dan just mentioned to me a second ago that the Premier League's packed in the pay-per-view scheme, so we're going to talk about that. Got a load of questions from people messaging in the show, so thank you very much for that. It is appreciated. But we're going to go straight into the internationals, Dan. Ake came off injured, didn't he, the other day? Looks like a tight hamstring. Looks like a pull. Again, the question comes in. Who asked this question? Ryan Askew. Why are players still playing international football in the middle of a pandemic? I can't answer that, pal, because I would have scrapped it. It seems absolutely bonkers. You get people from all over the globe travelling to different areas all over different countries when it's so easily spread. And that's been proved. Did you just tell me that one of the players that played against England last night has just got COVID as well?
Yeah, his second. I'm sure his second name was Byrne or Byrne or something like that. Yeah, he's played last night and he was confirmed positive this morning or early this afternoon or something like that. It's not a confirmed report by like the mainstream media, but a lot of outlets are saying it. But as far as like Sky Sports or BBC are concerned, not that I've seen anyway, have come across it, but every other media outlet that I've come across has.
He's going to have it, isn't he? He's definitely going to have it. If it's spreading as much as what you're saying it is, it's definitely there's no smoke without fire with stuff like that, is there? I think it was only Ake of our players that came through without injuries, which is obviously a positive sign. Gomez obviously out from Liverpool now for X amount of time, which obviously puts them to pay for their defensive issues at the moment with Van Dijk and now Gomez.
Yeah,
they've said it to us last season, so I don't have any issues with saying this. That can only be a positive for City and its title chances. People will be slating me for saying that, but that's nothing compared to what they said about us losing company and X amount of players last season. So I have absolutely no guilt with saying that. We have to be honest. We could do with a few more of their players going down, but the thing we've got is they're the type of team that can go on and score 5 even if they concede 4. So it doesn't. I don't necessarily think it's going to be a massive hindrance for them because they've got such an array of talent to go and score more goals than they concede. I'm not necessarily thinking that's going to be such a positive for us. What do you think about that?
Yes, I'm a hell of a lot more confident now that they're having these injuries. Like you said, they said some awful things about us losing players last year and the year before, even that. So I have no love lost in the fact that I'm quite happy to say thank God they've got some injuries because now they're going to know what it feels like to be City.
Yeah.
In terms of them outscoring their conceding rates in terms of the title, I don't think it will go on for that long. Strikers tend to burn out quicker than defenders throughout the season, and we're a prime example of that. Our defence seems to be ship-shape now, and our attack's the one that's really struggling, and the only positive I can take from it is, well, 2 positives. Our defence is looking ship-shape against Liverpool last week, and they had 4 forwards on the pitch and couldn't score a goal in open play. So if they're having to put 4 forwards on, they're still not scoring goals, even with the injuries with the defensive line. Happy days. Happy days.
It's funny, isn't it? I'm reading so many press releases and so much news about Liverpool having so many injuries and stuff like that. They've had 15 injuries this season. There's only one team that's had more injuries than them this season. Can you ever guess who it is?
Oh, is it Blue?
It's Blue. It's City with 16 injuries according to Premier League injuries table. But it's all worries me for Liverpool, isn't it? Cram your river, bloody hell. Honestly, anything happens to Liverpool, it's so exaggerated by the press. It's bonkers. So just going through the injuries that City have had. Injuries are key to Man City players and played without striker for nearly 2 months. We've had Steffan, Laporte, Ake, Stones, Cancelo, Zinchenko, Mendy, Gundogan, Fernandinho, Bernardo, Mahrez, De Bruyne, Aguero and Jesus. I have absolutely no sympathy for Liverpool.
No.
Absolutely no sympathy for them whatsoever, and I don't think many people in blue would have any sympathy for them either. But we'll move on for that. It's such a fantastic point we mentioned about the players coming down with COVID. I have just learned as well that the England international with Norway has been cancelled. Have you read that recently in the last couple of hours?
Yeah, I skimmed across that. I think that was due to is it Norway's restrictions of their own country? They're not allowed to come across for the friendly.
Right. Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense then. Yeah. But every country should be doing that. It just absolutely baffles me that I can understand why football in one country could go ahead because obviously everyone's still in and around it. But when you got companies, when you got players going from one country to another, I just can't get the head around that.
No, and especially when they're pointless, i.e. friendlies. Even the Nations League. I mean, the Nations League is a brand new sort of tournament, and we've got the Euros coming in the summer. The season's packed as it is. Players are going down left, right, and centre, whether it be from injuries or COVID. You're adding to the risk in these international friendlies alone, and the friendlies don't add up to anything other than giving younger players caps. You know, caps aren't what they used to be now. If you've got 2 feet and you can kick a ball, you're an England player really at the moment. It doesn't matter how long you've been playing. Well, according to Southgate, it does. You know, Foden had to get Premier League experience before he got his debut, and yet Calvin Phillips never played a Premier League game and he got his debut. So Gareth Southgate's talking out his backside most of the time anyway.
It's funny, Southgate's not coming across very well at the moment, is he? He's having a bit of a poor time at the moment. And I like Southgate. He's not everyone's cup of tea. You're not a fan, are you?
No, I can't stand him. I think he talks too much when it comes down to it. Nah, he's too direct, but not backing anything up, if you know what I mean.
I think we'll have to beg to differ on that. I think we'll have to beg to differ because I think England needs a manager like that at the moment, a bit of stability and we'll agree to disagree. We could do a whole subject on this, can't we? But people come here to talk about City, so I just want to put a Paul Glennon, big fan of the show. How are we doing, Paul? He's one of our patrons. Thank you for commenting and being a patron as always. As mentioned, he's actually put Salad has COVID. I think he means Salah. Yes, you do mean Salah, Paul. Pal. I'm glad you make those mistakes as well as me, buddy. A Brazilian player has tested positive as well. It's bonkers. I honestly can't get my head around it. So Mo Salah's got it as well then, has he?
I did come across that. I shared it, didn't I, in our private messaging? Yeah, completely forgot about that. Yeah, he's definitely confirmed, and that'll be him out for a couple of weeks now as well, won't it?
Okay. What did I just say about them having better strikers than they have defence? Maybe that could be the turning point for them. But you know, they'll probably get special dispensation from the Premier Leagues to bring in extra players.
Yeah,
they'll start a what they called a poll. What's the petition? They'll have a petition going soon, won't they?
It wouldn't surprise me if you have a GoFundMe before long enough.
Liverpool. Speaking of Paul Glennon, we've got a couple of other thank yous to go out to Paul Glennon, Lee Rush, and Graham Heim, who are current patrons of the show. So thank you very much for your efforts there, chaps. It's really very much appreciated. Dan has just informed me that Premier League pay-per-view has just been scrapped. So Premier League confirms all games to and including Christmas and New Year to be broadcast live and not on pay-per-view. So the way I read that is every game is going to be live and free, unless I misread that wrong.
I don't want to disagree because I don't know my facts myself, and it's hard to understand. They've not really explained it well, but from what I got from that, they're still doing the pre-COVID TV selections, but it's like because they've been obviously some games have been picked to play on TV during this pay-per-view scheme, and only a handful have been picked for pay-per-view. I think it'll still go down that line where only a selection of games have been picked.
Right.
But
not all 10 games will be live. It's basically the one they've already selected for TV anyway. Right.
That's what I've got of it anyway.
And with that makes more sense because the logistics of watching of recording every game sounds like an absolute nightmare. So that would make perfect sense. for that. Simon Stone leaked that on Twitter. Thanks very much for sharing that with us, Simon. That's really very much appreciated. Colin Wallace, how are we doing, Colin? What is the purpose of international football? It means we can't watch City. I know, Colin. I know. I feel your pain. It's so frustrating, especially when they are pointless and we do pick up stupid injuries, and other players are picking up stupid injuries. And this COVID thing, I think, you know our feelings of it from the last couple of minutes. I just think it should be binned and scrapped on for a year. And moved on. I just can't see the point of it, to be honest with you. I know it's all about finance. It's always going to come down to money. This is football. It's always going to come down to the brass tacks, unfortunately. But it's still a frustrating one. June Wilkinson, how are we doing, June? I would like to thank the management for. So basically, June's put this message. I'll tell you a bit more about this from a personal note in a moment. That my dad's had one of these. June Wilkins said, I'd like to thank the management for the telephone call we received, checking we are okay, and if we need anything. Only a club like ours would do this. June, I absolutely agree with you. My dad's had 3 phone calls from City. My dad's been going to City for his whole life. He's had a season ticket for... he's nearly 80 now, so he's probably had a season ticket for 65, 70 years. He was young when he started going. And he received... I don't know if you've heard about this, but people that are elderly, or people that are I think potentially over a certain age, but basically getting phone calls from the club saying, how you doing, we miss you, I know you miss us, I hope you're well, can we help you out with anything? And if people actually need stuff sorted, City will sort it for them, and whatever it might be. How nice is that though? So June sending out a message there that she's had that service as well. My dad loved that. That was really nice for my dad to get that sort of message come through. So it's a lovely thing, that, isn't it, to happen? Still the People's Club. Still that little city. Still that little city. That is very well done. Absolutely, very well done. Yeah, I completely get that. And there's rumours going out on Twitter. Jose Alvarez on Twitter, who's very much in the know journalist on Twitter, leaks a lot of good stories. And he's saying that Pep's going to sign a new 1-year extension to his contract, but it's going to be a rolling 1-year contract.
I don't. If that's true, I think that's ridiculously stupid. I know Dave's just about to jump on now, and I think he'll sort of agree with me here. A 1-year extension with a roll-on contract is probably the worst idea for any big club. For a top manager, he's either staying or he's going. I'm sick of all this. Just add 1 year, add 3, or don't add 3. You're either staying or you're going. Stop with all that nonsense.
So basically, Dave, you've just landed at the right time. How you doing, pal? I hope you're well, mate. It's not so long since I've seen you.
Doing well.
So there's a journalist on Twitter called Jose Alvarez, very revered, knows his stuff, no question about that. Done quite a lot of coup situations where he's got ahead of the game of a few things, and he said, well, basically, Pep's going to sign a new extension on his contract. It's going to be a 1-year extension, and he's only going to sign 1-year rolling extensions from here on. There's going to be no 5-year contract or anything like that. It's going to be 1 year rolling. And I can see your head shaking so much it might fall off in a minute. So do you want to reply to that?
No, I mean I caught the tail end of what Dan was saying, and I totally agree. What player in the right mind is going to sign for Manchester City for a manager who's on a rolling contract?
Yeah.
Dan has been saying for months now, there is no manager and no player bigger than the club, and I just feel right now that since Pep came, yes, he's done wonderful things for the club. The feeling is that he's bigger than the club, and he's not. Everyone from the chairman down is kowtowing to him. You either sign a 4 or 5 year contract or you don't. Yep. There's other managers out there with fresh ideas who can come in. That smacks to me, Tom, of someone who has just got Manchester City over a barrel. A rolling 1 year contract? No, I'm not having it. I'm not having it.
What would you like to happen at the end of the season for Pep?
I want him to leave. I think he's done his time. I'm not saying fire him immediately. I think we're having a really average season. I think you can blame it on a lot of things, injuries and the amount of games, and whatever else, but everyone else is in the same position as well as us. I think we're going backwards as a team. I think his tactic has been found out. I want him to leave with his head held high at the end of the season, and I want a new manager brought in. And for me, that is either Pochettino, who we all know is incredibly good with bringing youth through. I know he's not won any trophies before everyone jumps on that. I get that, but I still think he's a wonderful manager. Or I would like Nagelsmann, and from what I understand, didn't he have some just arbitrary, just little conversations when he was in Manchester in that flashy suit?
There's a lot of people that said, but that's a nice suit, that as well, isn't it? Dan slated. I've got one of those jackets, and Dan slated me for that jacket. You look beautiful, didn't you, in that jacket?
I want someone to come in with fresh ideas, fresh perspective, a new way of looking at these incredible players that we have. We have a £1 billion team. Whichever way you look at it, we have a £1 billion team. But we play the same way week in, week out. And we need to explore different ways of playing and stop putting Gundogan and Rodri as bloody defensive midfielders, because it doesn't work.
See, for once, Dave, I have to completely disagree there. The beginning of the season, I was in the boat of giving him till Christmas and going from there. I will admit that if we were struggling and we weren't anywhere near the top four come by Christmas, sack him. I don't care who he is or what he's done in the past. Right now, I think Pep's tactics have completely changed. He would never play two holding midfielders. Yes, some games it hasn't worked. Some games it really has. That Liverpool game, he worked a masterclass in terms of tactics for me there. The defence was solid. The only reason Liverpool scored is because Walker, for some reason, who's been our best player so far this season, gave away a silly foul. That's the only way Liverpool could have scored that game, because our defence was solid. Rodri had a great game for me, personally, in that game. And we've got to remember, we're playing as a team. Yes, we're a £1 billion team, like you said. We're playing with hardly any fit strikers. We're playing with makeshift strikers, struggling with injuries, and players are only just coming back. Pep's had to throw a curveball in there, and for me this year so far, I'm happy with it. You know, he's really proved me wrong. Don't get me wrong. After the Leicester game, I was with you. You know, tactics haven't changed. We've just been battered 5-1, but now I'm going to get blasted because Chris is here now as well, so it's not going to be working well for me.
There he is.
I do feel like if Pep continues the way he's going, I think he does deserve another season at City. But I'm against the 1 year extension. You're either 3 years and above or no contract at all.
Chris, did you hear what I mentioned a second ago on Twitter with the potential of Pep signing a 1 year extension on his contract, and it's going to be rolling 1 year contracts, not long term ones. That's not official. That's just what a journalist has put on Twitter. That's all I'm saying.
So while you're thinking on that, Chris, for a response, let me respond to Dan. I'm going to completely disagree with you. I think we got battered against Liverpool. We had no midfield. Yeah, they didn't score, but we got battered. They had such the better chances than us, and of course, yeah, they played 4 essential forwards. And I get that. But we got battered through the middle, and that's where Gundogan and Rodri did step up to the mark. We should have done better in midfield, and what we did. The only game that we've played well in this season is Olympiacos, and that's when they had Gundogan playing more as a forward midfielder, attacking midfielder. That's his role. As every time we play Gundogan as a holding midfielder, it slows the whole game down, and we struggle. And De Bruyne was totally off the boil against Liverpool as well. He was awful. He couldn't control a ball. And when he doesn't play well, the team doesn't play well.
I don't agree. The first 20 minutes, I agree with you. Liverpool battered us the first 20 minutes to half an hour. Quite rightly, they should have got in front by more than 1 goal. we're talking about the champions here, you know, and like I said, we haven't got a fully fit striker. You know, Jesus is still not there yet. Aguero's out. He's returned training, I believe, next week. We held out. You know, we were playing the champions, and they had 4 forwards on. Jota was on form so far this season. Salah hasn't had a knock to him. Mane, you know, he's good as ever. And we were out.
And that's, Dan, unfortunately, where I see that we're going backwards. If you're saying that we did well coming out of that with a 1-1, that for me is we're going backwards as a team, because that's what we used to be like when Mark Hughes was manager, or Steffan, that we competed with the big boys. No, we are the big boy. They were there for the taking, the Dippers, and we didn't do anything.
I agree with that. I'm not disagreeing with that at all. I do think we should have won, but we should have won via De Bruyne putting the ball in the back of the via a penalty. You know, that was it. But any world class player can miss a penalty. I don't think any team in this league is there for the taking. But it's what I meant was, I don't think we're going backwards in terms of that. I think we've moved forward in essence, because we're defending well. Defending has always been Guardiola's struggle. You know, even when we won the Centurions, you know, defending has been atrocious. Now he seems to have corrected it. We played the champions with a struggling attacking team. If later on in the year, hopefully there's no more injuries and both teams are got the full squad, or most of the full squad to select, and we have our strikers, I think we'll batter them.
I don't think we will. I think Aguero. I honestly think we've seen the last of Aguero as the player he was. If we get, I said at the start of the season, if we get 20 games out of him, we'll be lucky. I'm not going to go down the Roy Keane path of what he said about Aguero, because I think that was just over the top, and him just being the arsehole that he.
But he said Walker hadn't played well all season, had he? So know he's talking rubbish anyway.
But Aguero ain't the player that he was. No. Incredibly injury prone. If Inter Milan want to take him at the end of the season, and you know, honestly, I'm fine with that. It's who we replace him with, and if we replace him. But I think he had his tactics wrong against Liverpool. I think Foden should have started that game. I think it was crying out for Foden.
Yeah, it missed Foden's energy. There's no doubt.
We really did, and that's the thing. I was kind of thinking, well, is he saving them for something? Well, no, we went into international break, so that's what I couldn't understand. Why isn't he playing the Bernardos, the Fodens, the Torreses from the start, who've got that energy? And you know, you took one look at De Bruyne and you knew he's gassed out. I don't know if he played for Belgium in their
not in the squad. Wasn't in the squad.
That's a good thing, because he looked gassed out.
Yeah,
no problem with missing that penalty. But surely Pep is seeing that in training and thinking, bloody hell, you know what? I'm going to give De Bruyne a break for this game, and have that energy of have Bernardo in that Kevin De Bruyne role, which we know he can play, and then have Foden. The only thing Jesus did in that game, and it was wonderful, was that goal. For 89 minutes and 30 seconds, that guy was anonymous. You didn't see him. So it's again that thing of Pep. He's just brought him back when he's not even fit. And I said that in our group chat. Why are we bringing players back? They should be eased in for the last 20 minutes. Not okay. You've been out for the last 3 months, and now we're expecting a goal from you. I just don't agree.
We've had a good point here from Christopher Fons. How are you, Christopher? Hope you're well, my friend. He's mentioned we played an okay game, but we got skilled in the first 20 to 30 minutes, and we still got it 1-1. For him, that's a positive. The defence was good in the Liverpool game. We just missed the penalty, and that affected us, especially with KDB, which he did. I think it would affect anybody. It was a horrible miss, and he knows he should have hit the target, but the best can miss. So we kind of just need to move on and move on for that. That's a really good. I really like the positive spin Christopher's put on this, because he's saying there, actually, look at our defence. Look at what we are going forward with the season with our defence. I know Ake's come off injured, and I hope he's going to be back up and running soon because I've really started to like him. And I can see him and John Stones being our second pairing at the back, and I want to see more of them two play together. But that's a great positive to have. Lads, we would have ripped arms off people to have a solid back four 2 months ago.
Agreed.
And when Messi signs in January, Dan, it'll be fine.
Right, see you later, lads. See you later.
It for me, it just comes down to the defence is great, and if we can keep Diaz and Laporte injury free, that is going to be a Terry and Carvalho. That is going to be solid. I get that. I think my overriding concern is the way that we continue to play the game. That it's been found out. We know this pass has been found out. We need to try and do something different. And I just feel that Pep is just so stubborn that he won't try. Now, and we need a striker as well. And that's still not happening. To say that we don't have the money to sign one is, I don't know. It's frankly ridiculous. Go and get Mandzukic. He's free. He's 34. I know he is. But go and get him. He's scored goals everywhere. Bring him in for 6 months in January, please.
Would you
something different?
Out of trying to be on the fence, Dave. Would you rather bring Mandzukic in for 6 months or play Delap up front?
I would rather bring Mandzukic in for 6 months because then I see it as that Delap can maybe learn from, because he's another big lad.
Like a Foden learned from Silva type scenario.
Exactly. Mandzukic has scored goals everywhere he has played. You know, Eastern European, you know, like a Kolarov, so you know he's a hard bastard at the end of the day. I just think we need something different up front, rather than trying to pass it into the back of the net.
Chris, can I get your thoughts on this?
Here we go.
I'll just sit back, wind him up and watch him go.
How's the throat before you start?
Oh,
Please tell me it's bad.
Rotten. I feel rotten, trust me. Honestly, I feel about as bad as Adam Johnson when he was told he couldn't play Vinnie Jones in the Mean Machine pantomime. Right, in response to Dan and the comments about Liverpool, I couldn't give the furry crack of a rodent's rectum that they were the champions. They came to us last season and we gave them a bloody good schooling. They've had more goals conceded this season than any other their keepers let more in than any other goalkeeper. They were ours for the taking. They've literally had to play with 4 strikers because they had no defence and they know their midfield is shite. I mean, when you're looking at the likes of Henderson and bloody what's that guy from Stoke, whatever his name, they're crap in midfield. They're literally about defence and attack, and when the defence is lacking, they've got to go all out. We should have had them pants down on Sunday, and we didn't. Yes, Steffan has said it. Our defence is strong. That's good. We've needed a defence for a long time. But all we've done now for me is sacrifice what we had going forward for what we lacked at the back. We haven't improved. We've not gone forward. We've swapped one for the other. 2 seasons ago, we had a striker and attacking midfielders all hitting 20 goals and other players queuing up in double figures as well. Now, they can't... They're getting 20 shots a game and can't score. You know, we might get 1 or 2 shots hitting the target. It's pathetic. Against Liverpool, we had 7 shots. 7 bloody shots against a keeper who's let more in than anyone else on a soggy pitch. It's just... I was fuming, to be quite frank. As for Pep and his 1-year rolling contract, I'm sure you would all agree now that Manchester City and the whole City Football Group thing is a massive business now. We are a huge company in the world, not just a football, just in general. We are a huge brand name, if you like. So we should just do what all the other big companies do. Stick him on a 0-hour contract, ad hoc. If nobody turns up better than him on a Saturday, then yeah, he can manage the team. But if someone better comes along, well, you know, we'll see you next week. If he gets ill, we'll give you a call. Just something as simple as that. Can't be doing with this rolling contract nonsense. It's either you're in, you're out.
It's
You know,
the thing. The thing is with rolling contracts as well. We're never going to be able to build solid foundations of a team that overtakes when Pep leaves. Players will come in to managers and they want to know what their future stands as well. We won't be able to sign a decent player, half decent player. I hope that's your son coming through the door, Dan. We won't be able to sign a half decent player on the premise of actually Pep might be here, might not be here. The manager coming in might like you, might not like you. There's no way a rolling contract works in football management for me.
It's not even about new contracts. New players. It's about everything that's there as it is. Like, you're not going to want. Well, what sort of staff are going to want to sign extensions to their contract? You know what I mean? Talking backroom staff, physios, youth team coaches. Even players. Who's going to want to sign a new contract if they don't know who the manager's going to be within the next? Because again, a rolling contract, they could easily just say, right, we're terminating now. Partway through a season, and it's so unstable. When it's one thing if you're in a financial crisis and you've got to take things as they come, or you're mid-table, you're kind of like Everton, you're just going to end up the same every year and no one really cares. But we're not. We're Man City. We should be fighting on all fronts for every single title we're going for. We're fighting for the bloody trophy that the League 1 2 teams going for. 123s were in the semi-final of that a couple of years ago. So we are literally fighting for everything. We can't be having a half-assed effort as who's running the top show. We need someone more committed, somebody committed, someone going forward. I think I said it in the group chat, lads. I think everything that obviously Mark Hughes, he cleared everything. You had Mancini and Pellegrini have built fantastic foundation of players and an idea at City. They've instilled that winning mentality. Pep's come along and he's just created something magical that no City fan's going to forget him for. But at the end of the day, we've got this fantastic structure. It just seems empty on the inside, and I want somebody who's going to come along now for a good 10, 20 years, like the long haul, and just make it something that's never going to crumble. I don't want another Fergie.
Do you not think Pep could stay here long term and do that and build that? Because let's face it, do you not think Pep could come in and do that build that long term 10-year foundation?
No. I wouldn't trust Pep to build Lego, let alone a new squad. I mean, every club he's been to, they've already won stuff. They've already had the experienced players there. The signings he's made at all the clubs have been hit and miss. Like I said, he was a manager who bought bloody Zlatan Ibrahimovic, and he went tits up. And yet he managed to go to United and still perform well. So if he could go to United after Fergie and do well, and yet when he was at Barcelona, he was a bit of a flop in comparison to everywhere else he'd been. Pep's a good manager. He's got great ideas. He does something that no one else has done. Someone commented on one of my posts the other day, and he said it was like a hurricane. He comes in and just takes the world by storm, but then he buggers off again, and it's just an absolute mess that's left behind him. And you can't really argue too much for that. Everything that's gone on at Barcelona since he left, their club's slowly been tearing themselves apart.
You can't blame Pep. You can't blame Pep for that, mate.
No, you can't.
No, Bayern Munich, they've only just won the Champions League. They went off the rails a little bit at one point, but it's just he doesn't really. He does well with for a couple of seasons, but he does it with a team that's already won stuff. It's like, yes, he's bought a few players, and some of them have worked out, but some haven't. I mean, Gundogan just. I was kind of wondering the other day, how long can a marriage go legally without being consummated? Because looking at that Liverpool game, he does half a job, and then thinks he's happy. He's like, he'll get the ball, there's a break on, and he won't go for it.
Who's that?
His wife's only ever had foreplay. They don't get to the end show.
It's still 10-7. Just be very careful
of
your next couple of sentences. Oh, you make me
one of the big things that Pep has really, really missed as well, and as time goes on, we see it even more clearly, is he misses a good number two. this guy, I don't know the name of him off the top of my
And
head.
that says
No one
everything.
does.
That says
No one
exactly.
does.
Do you know what, Dave? That says everything. I haven't got a clue what his name is. Our number 2 is called.
Yeah.
I can't remember him.
Like-
I know what he looks like. I just can't remember his name. That's terrible.
So
I think
we
he picked
had,
him up on a tram station somewhere.
we had who was the guy who was his number 2 who went to New York City for a while. I've forgotten his name as well. Like he was good, and then we had Arteta, and that was all fine. But this guy we've got now, and then he didn't have one after Arteta left, and I think he struggled then. And now we've got this guy. It's not working. I think if Pep is going to stay, I think he needs to be told, you need to bring in a better number freaking 2, whether that's Zabaleta or whether that's Company to learn the ropes or whatever. But we've all watched that documentary of City a couple of seasons ago, and it's very evident that Pep needs someone to bounce ideas off. And it looks to me right now that this number 2 who he's got is just a yes man, and it's not bringing to the table. We saw Arteta would push back on Pep, and that's what I think he needs sometimes, and I think that's what we're missing. If he's going to stay, I want him to bring in someone with new ideas who's going to push Pep a little bit to think a little bit differently.
To be fair, even if we did know him, would struggle with remembering his name. His name is Juan Manuel Lillo.
Lilo.
There you go.
That's exactly what he does.
Lillo, come on. He's the
We've got
one.
Lilo and Stitch, haven't we?
I'm looking at the internationals. I was just going back to what we were talking about before, Dan, for the internationals. Zack Steffen captained the US against Wales the other night. That's great, that, for a young lad to be captaining your country, and particularly in the goalkeeper position. Do you think we're never gonna see him play properly, a full
No.
proper?
I think Girona are going to get themselves a really good captain next season. Simple as
Yeah,
that.
I mean, all joking aside, this is the captain of the US team. How long is he gonna want to stay around to be second fiddle to Edison, who is a phenomenal goalkeeper? He's not going to get ahead of him. He's not going to get ahead of Edison. So, how long is he going to stay around? Is he going to be happy doing league games? Maybe FA Cup games. I don't know. Or has he been bought to, what did we get him for, 7 million? Are we going to just turn around and sell him in a season or so, for 20?
8 mil.
Yeah.
Still a profit.
Which one of you lads? Which one of you lads posted on our group about Real Madrid coming in for Garcia?
I think that was Tom Young.
Was that Tom Young? That's brilliant. That, I don't even think that's happening. Somebody at City's done that, haven't they? Someone's planting the seed.
That'd be funny. That would be funny.
So just so people are aware, Real Madrid have joined Barcelona in the hunt for Eric Garcia, according to a report. And obviously, we all know Garcia is going to be leaving. And there's still wranglings about how much he's going to be leaving for, whether it's January or the end of the season, and the price compared to that. Can leave on a free county next year. At the end of the
You
season.
can leave on a free in January. Well, by January, you can just sign a pre-contract.
Pre-contract, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so Real Madrid apparently have come in with a $23 million euro offer, which I think is absolutely hilarious, and it would be great if you went. You can't see it. It's Barcelona's his schoolboy club, so you can't see it. But I think somebody's playing a game behind closed doors at City there.
It's not going to happen. I think he'll just go to Barca for free.
Yeah, he will, won't he? It's going to happen at some point.
In fact, no, it won't technically be free. I think because of his age, they have to pay like a minimal compensation thing. But
It's because he came from our academy. No matter where you are in the world, whatever player comes from any academy, there has to be a fee because of the academy came from. Even though City signed him from Barcelona's academy originally, it still has to come through that one.
It basically just paying for his room and board, isn't it?
Yeah. To be fair,
It's tuition fees.
I couldn't be bothered if we sell him for peanuts for all I care. I'm sick of the saga now. You know, we've been twaddling our thumbs about him. Oh, come on, sign a new contract. You're the next big thing. You don't want to be here, sod off. I'm sick of the sagas. We were never one of them clubs, though, were we? Go back 5 years ago. We had a player that wanted out. Get out then. You know, you either want to be at City or you don't. That's what we were all about. And now, going back to the thing with Pep, you're either in or you're out. Stop pissing about. You know, we want to move on as a club rather than hoping to win the title. We want to win a title. We want players that want to be there. Like John Stones, for instance. He's had everyone on his back about his injuries. And he's turned around and said, you know what, I'm going to stay. I'm going to fight my place. If every player was like that at City, we would have won the title for the past 5 years.
Paul Glennon's made a good point. Edison's seems to have gotten a lot better since Steffan's come in as a number 2. And that's true, actually. His shot stopping does seem to have improved a bit.
I agree.
Yeah, good shout out,
him
Paul.
and Walker have probably been our standout performers this season.
Yeah, that's a really. I've never noticed that, actually. But yeah, now you mentioned that, that's a really good shout. We're seeing goal are pushing the agenda at the moment for Haaland, and basically it's between City and Liverpool. That's the be all and end all according to goal from where Haaland either wants to come to City or go to Liverpool, and we're in some background fight to get him. I'd love him.
Why would he go to Liverpool when they've got 4 strikers already, 5 if you include Origi? Why would he go there?
Yeah, you're guaranteed to walk into City's team, aren't you? Because Sergio will either be injured and
Well, we don't have a striker. It's like, let's get Mario Mandzukic. I'd quite happily have him after seeing first team Juventus on Netflix the other week, seeing what he can do. If we can get him for a free, sign him now, and him and Delap up front. That's our 2 strikers. Jesus can play wide when he should do. We'd be sorted. Then Haaland in the summer. Even part exchange him, Dortmund can then take Mandzukic. I'm sure he'd be happy there.
You need
for
to stop
season.
talking this much sense, Chris. They'll have to start hiring you soon for all this free advice.
I've been doing well, maybe. Been on my best behaviour.
I think you've done great. Right? I need to know what you're, because I keep hearing there's a lad that plays for Aston Villa. Okay, it's on the cusp of the England squad. That's not a bad midfielder, and I keep seeing things left, right, and centre about Pep really liking Grealish. So I want to know what you 3 think about him potential for City. Chris, I'm going to start with you.
Yeah, the greasy-haired, slick-back little...
Beep!
No, Grealish. Not you, Grealish.
Cheeky sod.
I'll tell you what, if I was playing for City, I'd be doing better at penalties. I'm still 2 for 2, me. But no, Grealish, he's just a walking time bomb, that lad. He comes with an ego and an asbo. I mean, no.
You got to think about it, Chris.
I'm not... He has literally got a tattoo somewhere of Joey Barton. Because that's all I see in him. That is all I see in that guy. I think he's the Antichrist. something about him. I don't even rate him as a player. It's like, yeah, he's great at Aston Villa, but my God, you know, who isn't? Jesus Christ. Lewis Dunk could be great at Aston Villa. No. Dave, big no.
Dave, what's your thoughts on Grealish, pal? Obviously, Chris is on the fence.
No, I don't want him either. We've got more than enough midfielders or forward-thinking players. No, we need a bloody striker. If we're even thinking about any other position that we need to fill right now, it's just ridiculous. We need a striker, and it's as simple as that.
Dan.
I want him. I'm being perfectly honest. And I'll take Chris's point about him being a little shit.
Stop swearing.
Sorry, a little lovebird. I think that's what this team needs. We've got too many fairies in this team. You know, got prancing around, love football, no one wanting to get into a tackle. I'd love a Grealish type player at City. He's not the greatest player in the world, but he could do a job. He could really, really do a job in this team. And we're forgetting he plays very well for Aston Villa. You know, And to be fair, Aston Villa are high up in the table. I know we're only a few games in, but they are playing decent football, and Grealish is at the heart of that. Stick him in a team alongside De Bruyne, Raheem Sterling, Jesus, Bernardo Silva. He's got a great player there. He's got leadership trait, what this team needs. And yeah, he's a little love boy, so he'll certainly get in there and put a few challenges about. I think he'd be great for this team personally.
I'm gonna put
fighting on the training pitch.
I'm gonna put a little
Maybe that's what these players need. Maybe they do need someone to come and kick the backside because they've had it all their own way for the past few years, and maybe they need somebody to come in. We haven't had that from since Vincent Kompany left. Maybe we do need someone who's from Birmingham and says it as it is.
I think Diaz is that answer now. I think Diaz will be our captain next season.
I agree.
I'm going on record with that.
I'm not saying he'll be captain, but somebody who's just a little bugger and get in there and make people,
Niggles, little niggler.
Yeah.
Where do you play Grealish in the current team? Let's say we buy him in the January transfer window. What's your starting 11?
I don't think we've got a starting 11 anymore. I think
what your starting 11 would be if we bought Grealish in January.
Left wing to centre attacking midfield. Play Sterling on his right wing where he's preferred and he played best. We haven't got an outer right left wing. Jesus maybe, but we haven't got Aguero anymore, so Jesus has to play up front. I'd play a front three of Sterling, Jesus and Grealish.
But Grealish is a midfielder. He's an attacking midfielder. He's not.
Starting out of left wing.
He pulls the strings like he's like.
He cuts out in from the left. He cuts in from the left. He is so good on the left. Every time he plays for Villa, he's always on the left-hand side and cuts into midfield. Now, I don't think we've got that. Sterling does try it, but he's not that good on the left wing. He does it brilliantly on the right wing, but we haven't got that. I'm not saying Grealish is a Sané player, but we haven't had that since Sané left. And I do think someone like it, he can dribble the ball well, he can take on players and win. If he cuts inside to help out De Bruyne can have a free roam then, and him and Grealish picking each other out with passes. I think, honest to God, if we were to sign Grealish, whether it be in January or next season, our attack would be transformed with just him.
I think the only player we need to be signing from Villa is Luiz.
Completely agree.
I think if there's anyone we want to be ringing, it's him. I like Grealish. I think he reminds me of a traditional old English footballer. Plenty of a bit of a whip it, can pass. But the problem is, he reminds me too much of like a Dele Alli or a Joe Cole. That he'll just come to a big club and he'll peter out. I just can't see anything. I think he just needs to stay where he is. If I was Jack Grealish, I'd be like, that's my boyhood club. I don't want anything else other than to play for this. And I don't think he'd achieve much. He would win cups if he went to other clubs, but I don't think he's got any other bars above the way he's playing now to rise above. I might be completely wrong. I could be completely wrong. Where would he fit into City's current team? He's on the bench, isn't he?
Oh.
I'd put him alongside Tommy Doyle in the under-23s.
I seem to be blowing my own trumpet tonight with all these stories. Can we do something that's a bit more neutral and everyone agrees?
But on the other side, on the fence a little bit here, thinking, right, okay, do you know what? If he is going to raise his game and be a better player, he needs to come to a City with a pep to see exactly what we can get from him. It just worries me a little bit that he'll come and be mediocre, and that'll completely ruin him.
I'm telling you, if he's as good as everyone thinks he is, go abroad. I've always been a big fan of good English players going and playing in Italy.
Juventus, go to Inter, go to an Italian team and learn the way the Italians play football. And I
always hold up David Platt as an example of being a good midfielder in the Premiership. When he went to Italy, he played for Sampdoria, he played for Bari. I think he had a season at Juventus maybe as well. That made him England captain. That made him one of the best midfielders that England has produced. And I wish there was more English players like Sancho, like Bellingham has done now, who would go and play your craft in another country, because then it's actually helping the England team, which is kind of what I want at the end of the day. I want us to bloody win something at the national level. And we've got, as we all said on our little group chat yesterday, there is so much talent in the at the English level right now in the under-21s and the national team. But if they're not going to go for to City or Liverpool or or Chelsea, go to Germany or Spain or Italy and play for one of the big teams there and learn how to play continental football and then bring that to the national team. If David Platt was on this call, I bet you he would agree with me.
Remember when Joey Barton went to France?
Marseille, didn't he?
Yeah, and he was loved there.
I tell you what, his voice improved as well as his football, didn't it? Blooming heck, I've never known someone pick up a French accent so quick.
David Beckham is loved by Real Madrid fans. I mean, and this is when they had Ronaldo and Zidane and Figo and Carlos. Because he brought it. He was a good player. It raised his game. Any English player who I think Sancho did the right thing. Go and prove yourself.
Yeah,
I swear, and I wish if Grealish is getting all these plaudits right now in the English team, and so be it. All right, go to Juventus, go to PSG, go to one of these big clubs abroad if you're not going to get your move to a big Premiership team, and ply your trade there, and get into the England, be a starter in the England team.
What's your thoughts about the potential of Alba coming over? Bit hit and miss, fell three of you there.
No. Can he play striker? Can he play striker? That's all I'm bothered about.
Bring on the strikers. Did you have you seen the news that there's a Premier League footballer? I know I'm conscious of the time and going out on the watershed, but there's been a Premier League footballer in his 20s that's been arrested for doing something very naughty. Did you read this? Did you read the article? One of the players has been arrested for rape, and it's all going to be a bit under the carpet. So they've obviously not released who it is, but they said in the 20s, and that's we need to know where that's going with that, because I can't understand why it's not been released though. I'm assuming they need.
Can I just say one just before we do get thinking with that? Remember what happens to Ched Evans?
Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah,
I'm not saying that whoever this is hasn't, but I'm sorry if it's been a case of a Friday night everyone's drunk and then she's turned around the next morning and said something different. Well, it's accusations like that. There's so many people who are victims of rape who have genuinely been forced against their will, and it's like they're just made a mockery of, for these women who literally go out on the razzle, and then the next minute, I didn't mean to do that. Well, I was drunk, I couldn't consent, therefore it's rape. But
they have to play it really carefully, don't they? This is a very
that's it. I mean, Ched Evans, bless him, his career was absolutely ruined, and he served time in jail for a crime.
Ronaldo's was close as well.
Who, sorry?
Ronaldo's was close as well with that report a few years ago, and he even paid her off, didn't he? And that was an excuse used against it, and it's only to make sure it didn't come to light. If Ched Evans had that money, I'm pretty sure he would have done the same. But you've got to be careful, haven't you? Otherwise, you will have a Ched Evans. But at the same time, like you say, we have to be careful, because at the same time, it could be true. It's stupid that they haven't so much released the name, because obviously that would probably do more harm than good. But I don't think they should have released it at all until the facts were there.
Yeah, we'll keep everyone updated with that as the story's going. I think we all know it's going to come from there. Just an update on the Jack Grealish to City. I've set up a Twitter poll, okay, and it's been running for 8 minutes. We've had 116 votes, 70% yes, 30% no.
Thank you, everybody. You are delightful.
116 people have voted on that up to now, lads. So
wait until all the children have gone to bed, Dan, and then we'll see all the real voters come out. When all the grown-ups can actually get back on the computer,
When you going off then and letting your dad jump on?
Depends if he can get internet where he is.
And Lionel Messi's come out in the press to a friend and supposedly said, if I'm moving anywhere, if it's the City, Sergio still needs to be there, and Pep still needs to be there. So I don't know if you guys remember a couple of months ago when all this Messi thing was kicking around, and I said, if Pep signs a new contract and Sergio signs an extension, that's guaranteed Messi's going to sign for us. Those two are two massive indicators to tell me if Messi's going to sign for us or not. If that comes out in the press, you must agree with me on that.
Yeah, but you never know. Maybe Pep saying, look, if I'm to stay next season, Aguero has to be here and Messi has to be here. And then you've got Aguero saying, well, if I'm signing a new contract, Pep has to be here and Messi has to be. And they're all just basically sat there waiting for each other to sign contracts that they won't sign unless the other one does. It could be that just, the...
chicken and egg situation, isn't it?
Yeah, it just...
If that's the case, I love
it's all
Aguero.
wishful thinking as well.
If that's the case, I love Aguero, but I'd drive him to his next destination if that's the case. I don't want Messi at this bloody club. Jesus Christ, it will make it worse. And then we were banging on a bit earlier about it being a one-man club and Pep holding City over a barrel. It'll be a billion times worse if they become a trio. I don't mind Aguero maybe holding City over a barrel because he bloody earned it. But if it's all for Messi, if all this rolling contracts and stuff like that, and Aguero signs just for Messi, this club is in such disarray, in my opinion. We were never a one-man band, let alone a three-man band. Jesus Christ, just sign some decent players and get a manager not based on one bloody player that's past his best.
Yeah. Why are we even contemplating giving Aguero another contract? Why? I love him as much as the next City fan, but he never plays. He's done. David Silva was humble enough to understand, you know what, my game's not what it was. I mean, he's killing it in La Liga, which is amazing, but I can't bring to this team what I used to do. I'm gonna go. And surely Aguero can see the same thing. He barely plays. He's injured all the time. Let's take a look at his injury record over the last 3 or 4 years. He doesn't play. So why, in all sense, would we give him a new? We're going to give him a new contract just so we can get Lionel Messi to sign that.
I said this weeks ago, and I got laughed at. City hold on to their like talisman too long, and in the end, instead of going out as legends, he kind of just fizzle out. Yaya Toure, absolute legend at City, bossed the Premier League for so many years. Where did he end up after it? Bloody Olympiacos. That's not the retirement home for legends, is it? Same with David Silva. I know Sociedad are top of the league at the minute, but obviously everything that's going on with COVID, it's a bit up and down. Sociedad is not where legendary players go to hang the boots up. And now we've got Aguero. The only place he's going to hang his boots up is in the bloody waiting room at the next Bupa hospital because he's always injured. He's going to finish his career at City with less than 10 goals. I guarantee it. This will be the first season he will not get to double figures. I promise you. And that is not how any City legend.
And
that hurts me. That hurts me.
I just don't get excited anymore when I see these posts or whatever in the media saying, "Oh, good news for City. Aguero's back in training next week." I don't get excited by it anymore. I used to. But it's just he's done. He's done as a player for us. He's done his time there. Thank you very much. Just. If Conte wants to sign him for 2 years for Inter Milan, bloody hell, good luck to him, because you'll get about 14 games out of him over 2 years.
To be honest, I think he'd do all right in Italy. Don't have to run. Players are protected. He's not going to get injured. He'd be all right. Same with David Silva. David Silva's gone to Spain. He's getting games every week. He's doing all right. Toure, he could do well. He's just...
I think his body's just... shot though, Chris. I think Laney. I honestly think Aguero's body is just done. Let's bear in mind he turned professional when he was 15. 15. Yeah. He's been playing at the top level, and how old is he now? 32. He's playing in tough leagues as well. That's the Argentinian league, over to Atletico Madrid. And then into the Premier League. I just think he's just done. His body is giving up on him.
You'd put a horse down, wouldn't you? You just would. You're all laughing, but you're all shaking your heads. You're all in disarray because it's like you hit the nail on the head again.
What, Stuart Aguero?
No.
That's the analogy.
Jesus, lad. We're not going to bring the screen out next time we're on the pitch and just put him down. You take him to Switzerland first, and then do it humanely. God, No, but you know
Sergio
what I mean?
Aguero, sponsored by.
What I'm saying is, you want a prize-winning champion horse or whatever, or even a bloody domestic, your pet dog, love your life. You don't want to see him suffer. And at the minute, as a striker with the reputation he's got, he's not going to be happy sat on the bench every week with an injury. He's not going to be happy every week coming onto the pitch, seeing the ball coming over, thinking, yeah, I can get it, and then realising, oh Christ, no, I can't. I'm like Dave said, I'm buggered, I'm shot to pieces. I can't do what my head thinks I can do. That must be heartbreaking for him.
He probably doesn't want to stop, since every analogy you've used to describe him means putting him down.
Well, yeah, just put him out of his misery. Whatever. Shake his hand, say thank you very much. Put him put him to pasture, whatever. Put him to stud. Let's bring some more into the world. Bring more Agueros. That can't be bad. That can't be bad.
Right, yeah, I'm wrapping this up before you start killing anyone else of the squad off.
Maris?
Anything else to add before you?
Yes, I am really sorry, guys. I really do want another rant, and this is aimed at Puma, Nike, Umbro.
Do we have enough time?
Whoever else you want to. I'm not joking, right?
Fila.
So this is one of my Nike shirts, yeah. Look at the state of the Etihad on that. This one, it's starting to peel off. All these shirts cost 40, 50, 60 quid. I've not even had them a few years, and they're falling bits. I've still got shirts from the 90s that are almost pristine condition after being worn. Why can't football companies not make shirts like they bloody used to?
Yeah, felt.
What is going on? It's utter. These shirts are garbage.
My Thomas Cook ones are
garbage.
Somewhere.
Bring
Right.
back
Completely agree.
Yeah. The money we're paying for shirts, it's awful. And I'll tell you what though, because I've got a Finethley Scarlets rugby shirt somewhere. All the branding like that, it's actually part of the shirt. It's not printed on or stitched on. It's part of the stitching. It's actually in the design. So it can't rub off, it can't wash off. Like that, it's
like that one. I think that was what title one. It's starting to fade a little bit, but it's part of the shirt.
Yeah, it's better than the others.
Yeah.
I just urge whoever's in charge of City's marketing and shirt sponsorships, get a proper shirt company, and yeah.
Be wary of Chris as well. You might be put down.
Yeah. Right, we'll leave it there. Is there anything else to add? Anyone want to complain about the shorts or socks or anything like that? No.
It might be here for another hour. I've got a to-do list to go through.
Right, not for today.
I'll leave for a minute.
Lads, as always, an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and we'll speak to you next week, won't we?
Yeah.
Come on, bit of positivity, and another smile.
Is football back next week, or is it another week of
week after?
The week after.
Yeah.
Oh, for God's sake!
The next game's the 24th.
It's the internationals, Chris. It's the most exciting time.
I'm not. I honestly don't understand why internationals are not kept for the summer, the pre-seasons. Stop interrupting the football seasons. Just nobody gives us
meg. Make everyone a bit happier. That is Spurs away. Our next game.
Oh, I'm up for that.
Yeah, Spurs away. 5:30 Saturday the 21st, and in a few weeks' time we play United. Come on, Blue Boys. Right, I'm leaving it on this note. Twitter poll update. Are you ready for this?
Oh God.
Jack Grealish to City. Twitter, 165 votes. 72% yes, and the rest are no's.
And the kids have already
spoken,
going to bed, Chris.
Twitter has spoken. This is the FIFA generation on Twitter.
We need to put it up on Facebook as well, because that's it. It's the generation of Twitter, but you think of the target audience for the people who use Twitter?
All right, I'll do as you ask. I'll stick it on now. And on that note, lads, we're gonna love you and leave
Take
you.
care,
Have a
guys.
lovely evening. See you soon, guys.
Sorry, just before we go, really quick. No, this is quite a serious note. I mentioned it earlier on the group chat. I just want a quick shout out to my mate Peter Hill, who he died yesterday.
Oh.
He was a City season ticket holder for 20 odd years. Him and his lad. I mean, he was bad with diabetes. It was affecting his eyes a lot last year before COVID, and he was going to get me to take his season ticket and take his lad because he was worried his lad was going to miss out on games, particularly midweek. But he's lost his short battle with COVID and died yesterday as related to the coronavirus. So, shout out to him and his family.
Right then, Blues. Thank you very much for that, Chris. Thanks, lads. We'll speak to you all next week.
Take care.
Cheers, boys. Much love. Come on, City.